Hi, welcome to the Soar in Science mini module in Canvas. This is part of your choices for your menu choice here on October 11th, and I hope you find this useful. We're going to take a look at some authentic student tasks to use in STEM scopes and applications and beyond. Before we continue, just want to draw your attention up to the link for this presentation. Even though this is a recorded version of this presentation, you're welcome to download it, and there's the tiny URL up in the corner. If you want to go to that, you're welcome to take a look at that, and it's got live links within the PowerPoint as well. So for this little mini session, today we're going to just look at some new and unknown treasures in STEM scopes. My goal for you is to find at least 3 strategies that work for your students to help them process informational text, videos, or experiences. And of course, we'll be looking at this through science, but you can apply these for some of the other content areas as well. The final step for this mini module is an Each One Teach One, which is just a collaboration with other teachers, see what they said, and give something back to them via Padlet. So before we move on, let's take a quick look at connections to the learning platform. There you see the learning platform diagram. I'm going to pull over the live one from our website, from Berkeley website. So if we look at the learning platform, what we're going to talk about in this mini session are going to connect in 2 places. One is going to be right here with student-centered learning, and if we hover over the thing link, this is going to be focused on what the students are doing, not necessarily what the teacher is doing, and it's about the learning. So talking about authentic tasks in that way. And the other place it really is going to fit in nicely is going to be over here on the outer circle, authentic student tasks and products. And there you see a little description of that as well. If you've not visited this particular version of the learning platform, it's pretty neat. It has little explanations there to help us frame what we're doing. So if you access this presentation via Canvas, you saw these instructions in Canvas, but I'll just kind of go over them to help frame what we're doing here with this presentation. The first thing we'll do is just watch this presentation. I've got just a very brief voice of some things that I'd like to point out to you. Once the presentation's over, you're going to log into STEM Scopes and then use the links that are in Canvas under this module to explore. And that's going to be the bulk of this module, is you exploring and finding some connections that work for you and your students. The final piece is to use the Padlet link that's in Canvas to see what other teachers have said who've done this module, as well as share out one really good connection that you found during your exploration here too. And then finally, just take your knowledge and use it right away. So let's go ahead and start off with just a couple of new and noteworthy pieces in STEM scopes. These were added in 2016 or modified in 2016, so I just want to draw these to your attention. The first one is really more for a teacher use and kind of a logistics, but it'll save you some time, which I think we're all interested in, and it's called the Planner. You'll see it located on the main menu bar when you open up STEM scopes. And what it does is it just allows you to drag and drop parts of any of the scope on a calendar, so that whenever, say for instance, you're going to be using Science Rock on next Monday, you just drag and drop the Science Rock piece to that Monday and it provides a shortcut. You can also share this with your teammates, which is really nice. The next piece I want to highlight is called STEM Coach in Action. And I know we have lots of seasoned science teachers, and they're looking really to go to next steps and maybe wanting to find out some information about PBLs and CER and STEM and strategies that they'd like to try. So I just wanted to highlight this. It's got lots of practical tips and resources. So when I say that, I mean very short videos of what it looks like in the classroom, FAQ section, and a really focused, here's how to get started. So again, that's STEM Coach in Action, and it's located under Scopes. And then another piece that's been added is the Claims, Evidence, and Reasoning. And this is under the Evaluate in the Scopes. And this is really going to help our students include some very pointed science writing, and it's also going to up the rigor. When you look at this for K1 and 2, it only includes claims and evidence for those kiddos, and then in 3rd, 4th, and 5th, it brings in the reasoning. You'll be hearing more about this over the next year as we integrate this more into some of our PD, so I just wanted to make sure you knew that was there. Okay, the next focus I'd like to look at is in STEM Scopes, and it's in the Teacher Toolbox. And you may have used the Teacher Toolbox in the past, so I just want to show you some little hidden gems inside here. So when you go into the Teacher Toolbox, which you can get by going to Scopes, and you can see I've got the link right here. You go to Scopes, and then you'll click on Teacher Toolbox Elementary School. And then this is the main menu within the toolbox. And you can see that it's color-coded because I want you to look into 3 different places in the toolbox to really find some of the hidden gems that we're talking about today. So let me go ahead and show this to you in a table form, and then I'll pull over the live Teacher Toolbox so we can look at it and see what it looked like on the screen. So the first thing we're going to do is take a look at the resources. So you can see you'll find this here in this pull down menu, and here's a description of what I'd like you to look at. This one is called Tools of Inquiry, and these are little mini lessons that are pre-done for you for teaching some of the more abstract process skills. Skills like, how do I teach my 1st graders observation? When we talk about that in science, what does that look like at a 1st grade level? Or I want to really help my kids develop their questioning skills and helping them understand questions that can be tested and questions that can be researched versus testing. So just a couple of different mini resources there, and that's really going to help you meet the level of rigor and help make sure that those process skills are solidly connected to your content. There's also a little Tools of Inquiry little cube that you can make for your kids to use, and some posters. The next thing I'd like to show you is a brand new piece, and it's in the literacy. This is a brand new area that they've added to the Teacher Toolbox, and I'm pretty excited about it. So when you go to this in STEM Scopes, you'll see this in the pull down. Let me describe that for you. This is called Linking Literacy, and there's 2 sections of this. There's one for K through 2 and one through 3 through 5. These are templates and instructions for processing informational text and vocabulary. And these are ready to go. They're there for you to use. There's 21 strategies for K through 2 and 45 strategies for 3 through 5. We'll take a look at these in the live view in just a moment, but I think the bulk of your time might be spent here because there's so much to look at, and I'm hoping to hear some feedback on the Padlet about what you really liked in the linking literacies. Okay, moving over to the master list, there's 2 things I want to show you here in the master list if you're not aware of these. One is the master vocabulary list. This is an Excel document that lists the major vocabulary terms with their definitions, and those are organized by standard and grade level. And so in one Excel sheet you can see all of the words that they have in STEM Scopes and picture vocabulary. Now, caveat here is that these, again, if you look at the description I've written on the screen, these are major vocabulary terms. These are not going to be all of the terms that are on the standard clarifier yet. I am working on that as a resource for us to put into our curriculum, but I wanted to let you know that this is available. And I've got a great tool for you to, so okay, yeah, we've got words and definitions. Now what do we do with it? I've got a great tool for you later in the presentation. The last thing in the master list, and again, I'm back here in the master list piece, is another Excel document called Books on Topic. These are grade level appropriate informational text titles, and they're by each science standard by grade level. So if your librarian is asking you for titles that you would like to have them order for your campus, or you know you have a particular standard or area in science that you need more books or maybe updated books, this is a place where you can go and you can send the list to your librarian, and they can use that for ordering. Okay, so let's just take a minute to see what these look like in the live view of STEM Scopes. So I'm going to go ahead and pull over STEM Scopes, And you get to the Teacher Toolbox by going to Scopes, and then Teacher Toolbox is green, and it has you enter right here. And up here you'll recognize that toolbar that I had on the previous screen. So here's the resources piece. Now you can see there's lots of things in there besides tools of inquiry, but that's something that's kind of a new piece that I think that and updated that you might be interested in. Here's that literacy piece that I was talking about, and you can see the drop-down menu has the linking literacy for K through 2 and 3 through 5. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So when we open up the linking literacy toolbox, you'll see that there's all these templates, and they are in alphabetical and numerical order. So the first one here is, here's an example. It's a 3W chart, where, when, and why. It gives you step-by-step instructions, and the PDF is right there. So it can help you really kind of, when you're starting to have your students do some authentic tasks, these are good places to start. And if you scroll down, you'll see that there are 21 of these for K through 2. So I hope you'll take some time that's built into this module to take a look at those. And then the 3 through 5, you'll see a similar setup. This one starts off with 321 notes, and also includes that 3W chart. There are 45 here for 3 through 5, so pretty extensive list. And then the master list that I was talking about, the pull down, here's that master vocabulary list, and here's the books on topics. So because we've got some time built in, I won't show all of that to you, but I just wanted to show you how to get to that. Okay, so now let's link what we were looking at with these new resources and these updated resources in STEM Scopes to authentic student tasks. On the screen, you'll see 4 different views of kiddos doing science. We read about science through books and informational texts. Sometimes we watch videos or simulations. There's lots of those in STEM Scopes. We might be interfacing with technology, learning about science, or we might be doing a first-hand experience like these kids down here, where they've got an iPad and they've taken that outside. So all of these things we consider to be input. This is input of information, right? So we can read it, we can watch it, we can hear it, we can do it. All of these things input information and experiences. What I want us to think about is what we ask the students to do with that information. So let's take a look at how I framed this a little bit more simply, and I simply refer to that as input-output. So when we think about input-output, I want you to kind of think about a bridge where we're going to try to bridge what we're asking students to do as far as input of information and what we would like for them to do. This really hits to authentic tasks and really hits to students applying their information in lots of different ways, which is something I hear feedback from teachers a lot. We've done these hands-on experiences, we've read about it, and they're not able to apply it, so that can really help with that. So let's take a look at maybe just a couple of examples or a few ideas based on the resources that we looked at from previous part of the presentation. So for instance, if your students are reading informational text, it could be they're reading science in STEM Scopes or the STEMscopedia or any sort of informational text, you might want to use one of those literacy link strategies. Remember, I showed this to you in the teacher toolbox. So the input would be the informational text, and then the output would have your students process that information using one of those strategies. Another example would be with the vocabulary. So your students have the vocabulary words, they have the definitions, you might have a word wall. What are we going to do with that? There's actually 2 outputs that I'd like to recommend to you if you don't know about these, and one's called Quizlet and one's called Chatterpix. These are both excellent vocabulary strategies for students to practice and apply some of the meanings of those terms. When you go back into Canvas, or if you download this presentation, the blue links right here are live, and I've created a little Quizlet for the second 6 weeks for first grade, so if you want to take a look at that, you can simply click on that or get to that link in Canvas. And then I made one for 5th grade as well. And then if you're not familiar with Chatterpix Kids, there's a link that explains what that's like as well. And of course, your digital learning specialist can help you if you need help, but both of these I've chosen specifically because they are very, very easy to start as first steps for using technology. The last example I'd like to show you is firsthand explorations and simulations. So let's say your students are watching a video or they've done a lab. Give claims, evidence, and reasoning a try. If you look in STEM scopes, you'll see that there is a scenario or some sort of information that's given, and students have to take a position and claim, I think that it's this, and they have to back it up based with evidence either from a data table that's provided or a data table that they've provided or their observations. So those are just some concrete examples that I hope will help you understand the input-output as well as get some new ideas for some resources in STEM scopes. So in just a moment, I'm going to end the presentation part. So again, if you go back to the directions, at that point I want you to log back into STEM scopes, do some exploring of some of those places, and all those links are in Canvas. When you're ready, I'd love for you to each one teach one, and we're going to use Padlet to do that. And so if you go to this link, and there's another tiny URL, and this is also live in Canvas, you'll see that some teachers have already started to collaborate. They've looked at these exact resources that you're looking at, and they have chosen one that they'd like to share out with everyone else. And so I'd love for you to add to the conversation. So when you get into Padlet, if you'll just put your grade level, what you found particularly useful or a great idea, and how you might use it. That way we can all learn from each other. So I hope you enjoy this little mini module, and I hope that you find something that's going to really work for you that you can take right back to your students tomorrow. Have a great rest of the day. Thanks.